Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all having a blessed day so far. Today, as per usual, every single month, I am coming on here sharing my portfolio update, my holdings, my buys, sells, dividends received, my changes in investment philosophy, theses behind new positions, selling, and so much more, and it's always a ball of fun. As per usual on this channel, I believe in transparency. For the last 4 years, I have been transparently sharing my portfolio on this channel. You can check out the playlist if you want to go back, watch my videos from a while ago. A lot has changed over the years, and it's a little bittersweet to see. With all that said, if you guys want to help support me, check out the Cashflow Kings YouTube channel, which is my live show. If you want to see me more frequent, we go live every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's a ball of fun. With that out of the way, let's get on to the video.
Hello, I like money.
Over the last month, our portfolio has increased about $2,000, which is absolutely insane and probably my best month of gains of all time. I credit this to just buying the bottom and buying dips on quality businesses, and more specifically some small caps that are a little more volatile that worked out for me this month. This could easily have gone the other way and I would have been buying even more. So I think that's important to disclose. I think it's also important to disclose that I made one deposit this month from my bank of $450, but I still have racked in about $1,500 worth of gains, which I'm very happy with. As you guys know, in America and in the portfolio, I love diversity in the portfolio, equity in my businesses, and inclusion of small caps. But I've definitely been a little outside of my traditional investing style when it comes to the business that I'm investing in. I'm definitely, as I mentioned in the goals video, I'm investing in a lot more small to medium cap stocks, as well as a bunch of international plays as well. I found that small and medium caps and international plays have a lot more upside when it maybe comes to some of these blue chipped high dividend payers. You're going to see me moving away from those high dividend payers, those blue chip stocks. More likely, you're going to see me going into more small caps, definitely a heavy approach into ETFs, which you're going to see this month as well. Still, 67% of the portfolio is in U.S. large cap, 13% is in U.S. small cap, 8% in international stocks, and then around 10% of the portfolio is in cash right now. I'm mainly just holding SGov for that, but I do have around $500 worth of cash right now from a recent sell. It's pretty nice seeing some gains in the portfolio for once, and currently my portfolio has an annualized 18.1% return from May of 2023. It does not go back to when I started investing of March of 2020. Definitely some of the small and medium caps that I've been owning that have had some gains recently have been kind of carrying this, so it's nice to see for once my portfolio is seeing some gains. Still, I'm underperforming the S&P 500. I'm not exactly that mad at myself right now because of that. The S&P's been on an absolute tear recently, and I think it's not long enough time horizon to be completely beat myself up over it. I'm very confident in some of the businesses that I've been having core allocations in. Let's get down to the passive income and the dividends for the month of January. Now, for the month of January, we had $14 more than last January in dividend income, which is beautiful to see. And it's also important to note that SGov paid out earlier than usual. So, I mean, we have an extra basically $10 or $15 that we're missing from here, but still we had an amazing month. To start the month off, my current third largest holding in the portfolio, Vici Properties, paid out $38.57, which I was happy to reinvest on a down day at $28.08. I'm very happy with that. That Vici dividend's been growing like a mother effer, and I'm very happy to see it. Next, I got my last ever dividend from Altria of $8.70. I made a pretty much one-for-one switch, and you're going to have to see during the buys and sell segment which I switch it for. You would know if you're a Cashflow Kings viewer. And then lastly for the month, I got the semi-annual dividend of Disney of $6.79. Disney has been having an okay recent couple of months, but I still think it's one of the positions of the portfolio that could be undervalued long-term and that I have my eye on. Pretty solid month for the dividends, not a whole lot of payers, but some pretty quality payers, and I'm happy with it so far. I think you're going to see my dividend income be a lot more consistent, as you can see here in the chart over time. It's finally looking a little more consistent with the portfolio rebalances that I've been doing. Still, I've been selling out of some high dividend pairs and putting in some growth stocks, so it's worth it. Alright, the longly anticipated buys, sells segment, the transactions of the portfolio. Once again, pretty strong portfolio rebalances going on, but there's definitely a more clear direction, I think, in the portfolio than there was maybe in months past. Very heavy ETF approach month. I was consistently investing in SHG and a little bit in SHD as well. I'm pretty much held off on my buying of SHD for now. It's right in the portfolio where I want it to be, around that 10% mark. I'm still going to be buying on any dips or anything sizable that would happen. Basically, my thesis with SHD and SHG, if you're new to the channel, I want to have 25% of my portfolio into SHG. I just think that's consistent. It's the smart thing to do. I think I'm going to get quality returns with that. I want to have 10% SHD, so I'm not underperforming there, but still during maybe a bear market, I'm seeing some better performance along with getting that dividend income that I am planning to use in the next 10 years. You guys got to understand that I'm going to be in my 20s. I'm going to be wanting to go on vacations, go to Vegas. I may need some cash in Vegas. Dividends would be a nice thing to have on hand. I plan on using this money. You guys, a lot of people like to shit on SHD, especially since I'm like 19 and I own it, but still, 10 years, I'm going to be using that money, and it's not a whole crazy allocation in the portfolio, so hop off. So this month in total, I bought 13 shares of SHG and 2 shares of SHD. To start the month off, I trimmed 1 share of Target, $142 at only a 5% loss. It's unfortunate. Obviously, you guys know I'm in Uber stock now, and I saw more gains in Uber in 2 days than I've seen with Target in basically 4 years now. It's getting a little ridiculous, but around if I can get a little loss like that or flat, I'm going to be getting out of Target pretty soon. That's just a mistake. I may have gotten a little too emotionally attached with that one, and it's just not the most attractive business to be in. Next, we have a fun one. I sold out of my Altria position, which was 8.53 shares at a 17% gain, and I immediately put that into 13 shares of BTI at $35.28, and I've so far seen an 18% gain since I bought in, which is absolutely awesome. I was essentially convinced on the Cash Flow Kings live show. It's just a more attractive opportunity. BTI's dividend payout ratio is much lower. Their exposure to smoking, which is obviously a huge revenue segment for Altria, is much lower. Future profits look a little better, and it's also much more undervalued compared to Altria, so it's just a pretty obvious opportunity. Once again, this was a topic we discussed on the live show Cash Flow Kings. I get a lot of my investing ideas on there now, so if you want to join part of the fun, you have to go check that out. But I was basically convinced on there, and I swapped it out. Very small position, actually one of the smallest in the portfolio right now, but still going to be producing some sizable dividend income. Then I put $100 into Uber at $65.05. It was down a bit on the day. I sold 2 shares of my Apple at a 50% gain, which fully got me out of this stock. Apple is just kind of a clear sell right now, in my opinion. A lot of hype around the company, not a whole lot of fundamentals to back that up. I'm not saying that I would ever not buy back into Apple again. I think absolutely if it got to like 160, 150, I'd be back in for sure. But still, I just index the money, and I think there's a lot better opportunities. With that money, I got it at a 50% gain, which I'm happy with. As you guys know, last year around this time, I was buying heavy on Apple at 170. It turned out pretty well as kind of a short-term trade, which obviously I'm never buying a business or Apple as a short-term trade. But if the market gives me a price that I can't say no to and I see better opportunity fit with that capital, I will be deploying it as needed. With that money, I bought around 55 shares of High Tide at various price points varying from $2.96 from $3.10. I've been really trying to allocate more money into making High Tide a core position. We recently just had the roundtable yesterday. It was an absolutely awesome episode. If you are interested in learning about the company, want to be convinced to potentially buy it, obviously go check that episode out. I will leave a link to it in the description, but awesome episode. So I bought 55 shares, and I've been continuing to add to that as well. I want to make it around an 8% position of the portfolio. It's currently sitting around like 3 or 4%. Still sizable, but I could think there's a lot more to be left on the table. Next, the unfortunate part of the portfolio update. I officially resigned as the Starbucks cult leader. I officially sold some shares at a 13% gain. I think I'm just a little too over allocated in Starbucks right now. I think Starbucks has more downside than upside at this point. I think if you look at the other opportunities and you compare Starbucks to some of the small medium caps in the portfolio, you compare it to especially an ETF like SHG, which I've allocated some of those funds into, I just think there's better opportunities. I'm definitely, if you guys know, I've been cutting down on my position. This is the first of many sells. With that money from Starbucks, I put $175 into Uber at $68 and $130 into Disney at $108.36. Both of those have turned out pretty well recently. Then I bought 25 more shares of High Tide at $2.87. To index more of that money from Starbucks in SHG, which I just think makes more sense than not. Right now, there's a lot of hype around Starbucks with a new CEO, but there's not a whole lot of fundamentals that have backed it up. And after they reported earnings earlier this month, I sold a lot more of my position. Also, I started a new holding this month. I bought 8 shares of Evolution Gaming at around $75 and $74 for both of those purchases. Once again, another pitch that was made on the Cash Flow Kings live show. I learned from it from Seymour Duck. Shout out to him. Evolution is basically the software for all these online casinos and live gambling online, which is a very fast growing market. Right now, Evolution is like disrespectfully undervalued. Consistent profits, consistent business model, very sustainable, wide moat, very efficient business, and it's just very attractive to be in right now. The big risk around it is regulatory risks right now, and a lot of their revenue comes from unregulated markets, so that's a bit of a red flag, but still it's disrespectfully undervalued. They also do pay a dividend right now, and I believe are buying back shares. And here's a current view of my portfolio on finchat.io. Look for the link in the description. We have an affiliate link for the Cash Flow King show. If you want to test this out, get insights on your portfolio, check it out. You have also amazing access to data that you just can't get elsewhere. My portfolio is looking pretty strong right now. SHG, Visa, my SGov position, and SHD. Some of the core holdings I'm very happy where that's at right now, and I want to build up some of these smaller positions like High Tide, but overall I'm very happy with it. Currently, my portfolio has a yield of 1.4%. It has a 5-year revenue CAGR of 19.2%, an operating margin of 40.3%, return on invested capital of 14.6%, and a forward PE of 29.4. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you guys have had an amazing start to 2025. Investing wise, I think I am the most excited about my portfolio that I've ever been. It's been awesome to log on to my portfolio every day and see crazy gains, or I'm even happier when the stocks go down and I have a huge red day where I can buy even more stocks. I love investing and you should too. Thank you all for watching. Do Dividend Stocks on Drugs and have a good one.